Hello guys,
Hello,
I'm Stacy Nolan Uche and this is
I'm Tina Lee and we are Rev'd Up Consulting.
Rev'd Up Consulting.
So at Rev'd Up, our mission is to help physician practices take control and master their own revenue cycle so they can focus on what they do best, which is patient care.
Yes, and our other goal is to inspire you, to encourage you to be your best you.
Yes.
Today we're just going to have a candid conversation about what a healthy workplace looks like. What is healthy to you? And think about when you have been in a healthy workplace. What does that look like? And so Tina, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, so I just was posing a question to Stacy, and we had randomly gone on this conversation. When was the last place or the last time that you remember actually working in a positive, healthy environment?
Yes, and I answered her. It took me a minute because in my mind I thought, certainly, I've worked in different workplaces which I think have been healthy, but when I think back to when it was most healthy, it's probably when I was younger, and younger in that I fresh from college, shortly thereafter, where every experience was a good experience because it was a new experience and a new workplace, and I was entry level. I didn't have I didn't know as much as leadership might know, so I was really kind of on the outskirts as a new person to the workplace. So it felt positive to me. When I was, say, for example, out of college, I was an admissions counselor and I was helping people enter college, or when I mostly the place where I remember it being healthy, and I felt like I made impact was when I was a trainer at Cigna. And so, what did that look like to me? It looked like somebody helping others, and I didn't have, I was management, but there was a little more flexibility in training. And so Tina had a different response,
Right.
And so let her tell what she has to say about that.
So I have had a different kind of job experience. So I have jumped around from place to place. I wish I was one of those people that could have stayed at a company for even over 5 years, but that has never been the case for me. I have been one of those people that I reach a certain milestone, and then if I feel like I want to move forward, then it's time for to look for new opportunities. And another thing that I've noticed about myself too is, I guess even before I knew that I wanted to be going into entrepreneurship, I've always have started out with startup companies or companies that were less than about 10 to 15 employees, because I like that process of building. I like being able to just jump in and kind of fix things and see what the problems were and just figure out a process and just keep it going. And that has been, I guess, the majority of my career. And I think only times that I've been in corporate was actually when I met Stacy here as a colleague when we both worked at a hospital here in Atlanta. So we both worked as a training team, and I would say that was very satisfying for me, because I think that one of the things that we share in common is just a desire to help people, and to help people to learn and to do their jobs more effectively. So I remember as a trainer, what was satisfying for me was really being able to just sit with people, like sit side by side with them and just train and see what kind of questions they have, and then for me, like knowing that I can help them along the way.
Right. So I think it's fair to probably say that a healthy work environment for one may be unhealthy for another, because what healthy looks like for me, and I think Tina and I will both say, is one where you're learning, where you're growing, where you're being trained, when somebody is pouring into you, recognizing your skills and your abilities, and you're utilizing that. And most times, depending on what job you're doing, people may not tap into all that or show all of that. When I say show, train you. But one thing for sure is a healthy work environment looks like one where you're growing, where you're evolving, where again, you're just utilizing your gifts and your talents. I think Tina, when she told me her take on things in terms of what healthy was, or what it looked like, or when she felt like she was in a healthy place, is when she was being tapped into from her natural abilities, that is training or giving and showing. And so I think, in a healthy workplace, it's important that leadership helps people to identify their strengths,
right,
and build on those things, help them, that person, to become better or stronger, so that they can feel like they're a part of something that's bigger than them, greater, and it gives them purpose. Because when you are managing a team, or if you are on a team and you're not really being utilized, it doesn't make you feel good, and it actually feels unhealthy.
Definitely
right?
agree. I truly believe that every person has a unique ability, whether it could be anything, whether you're good with computers, whether you're really creative, whether you're really process driven, or whether you're just really good with managing relationships. Everybody has something that they're good at. So if you are in a role that's not tapping into your ability, it really is a downer. It doesn't feel good. And I do agree also that management has a big role to play in this, because the role of leadership, I believe, is to really see what each employee or what each team member, what their strong points are, and to give them the tools and resources to be able to build upon it to help your organization.
Right. And so, we understand that leadership it could be the CEO, it could be the manager, it could be the supervisor. It's the people who directly impact the organizational flow. So that means if you're a manager, if you're a supervisor, you actually are responsible for a team, and you're responsible for getting the best from that team. So whatever it is necessary for you to do to make that happen, even if you're not a seer, because although you may be a leader, you may not be a seer. A seer is somebody who can identify the strengths quickly, or identify the problems quickly, and execute a resolve or response. So, but I think that all leaders, one thing that they should have is compassion, and honestly want each individual within their organization to thrive. So that's why I like what Rev'd represents. We're trying to make sure, we're not trying. Our goal is to empower leaders, managers, supervisors, CEOs, team members, staff, administrative, to be their best and to feel their best. And sometimes that comes in different shapes and forms, and so sometimes it comes in the package of helping somebody to see that the place that they're working isn't the best place for them. It could be that you are actually a catalyst behind them reaching their true purpose by showing them that, hey, this isn't working for you, you're not happy. Or it could be somebody who's like, wow, that's a superstar over there. She really understands people, or that physician really has a connection with his patient. And so we like to make sure that what he's doing or she's doing is duplicated throughout the organization. So you need to be able to see, and I think that's when you can truly see what a healthy, or you can create a healthy organization, because that's the topic we're talking about. What does a healthy organization look like? And I think
right. And there's that quote, that leadership quote that says, once you become a leader, your main purpose is to help develop the rest of your team.
Yes.
And I definitely think that's true, because a lot of the culture of these organizations, it comes from the top down.
Yes.
So it really is their responsibility, and almost like you owe it to your employees to really take that into account. So what makes your employees tick? Really get to know them. What are their personalities like? How can they contribute? And I think that two-way communication between manager and employee is also very important too, because any organization, any workplace, it's a two-way street. It can't just all be one way if you want to have a positive environment.
Yes.
So include your employees in goal setting and process making.
Yes.
Get their feedback.
Absolutely.
I think one of the best ways is to really have a culture of collaboration, and then something we also talk about too is a culture of accountability. So make sure that everybody has at least a sense or defined sense of what their role is, what their contribution is, because that's when confusion happens, when you don't really know what you're supposed to be doing, and it hasn't been defined, and just a lot of problems can arise just from not knowing what direction you're going into.
Yep. And again, that's leadership. You tapped into something that I wanted to add a little other quote, and that is one thing that and this is, once you get to know me and us, Tina and I, we really gel together well. I have a sense of humor because I think that's important. That
She's our comedian.
I'm gonna make you laugh from time to time. But one of the things, the best thing that my husband gave me, my ex-husband, excuse me, is an African proverb, and it goes a little something like this: the fish rots from the head first. So, in leadership, in management, when something is not right, it started at the head. That's leadership. So whether you may not be a fish, but you fit the proverbial expression that I just said, that it rots, things rot at the head first. So if your head is rotten, the whole organization is going to be rotten through and through. So sometimes you've got to really, be honest, put that mirror on yourself and be able to say, you know what, I need to, and as leaders, we have to do it often because there's a lot that you're juggling. And one thing you really don't need to juggle is your reality, and the reality of who you are, what you represent, and setting that standard and making it, clear throughout your organization each and every time, all day long. So
yeah, and I have seen that time and time again. So I wanted to get your thought on what place do you think that ego has in leadership?
So, ego, you got to check it at the door. Well, you probably should check it at the bed, not even let it come to the door, because sometimes our ego can get in the way of progress. Ego, somebody said something to me wrong, or they expected something so much from me and I couldn't, or I deliver it and they just don't recognize. I'm giving you an example of that. They don't recognize what I bring to the table. That's ego. And when it comes to wanting things to really thrive and grow and wanting your people to be their best, you've got to put your ego aside, and you got to remember that the person in front of you is a person,
right? And
you never know what they may be going through that particular day or yesterday. So I don't think there's not any place or room for egotistical leadership. You've got to come from a humble place, and not like you're bowing your head down, but you got to meet people where they are. You've got to have them, connect with them at a level that lets them know that, hey, I'm right alongside you, and be sensitive to the fact that we are all experiencing a new abnormal. And so
that's true.
We've got to, act accordingly.
Especially in healthcare, the world has turned topsy-turvy over the start of the COVID.
Yes.
So, it really is. We have new people coming into the healthcare industry, maybe people who are just starting out and haven't had those years of experience. So it is something to say. We need to meet people where they are, maybe start where they are at the basics and make sure that they have a good foundation moving forward.
100%. I think we do have to go back to the basics, because there's been I think the last 2 years have been a gap year, so to speak. A year where things weren't going the way we were used to. Systems and processes that were once in place were shifted to their core, and that's because COVID hit, and it was like, everything stopped, including how people did business and how healthcare reacted or responded to trauma, I'll say. And so, yes, at the end of the day, we have to get back to the core, the basics, because you're dealing with a new population of newbies, and that means new nurses, new physicians, and what once worked may not be working,
right.
Because of, because of the obvious, that is, it's a new world, it's a new way people are doing business, it's a new way that patients are being treated to expedite, resolution or healing, and nurses and physicians and people who are clinicians are charged with the responsibility of helping to get a person healed or whole but they've only had a short period of time to experiment. And I say experiment lightly because we know, I don't want to be an experiment. But at the end of the day, the trial and error or the checks and balance period or length of time has been shortened, by COVID. So we got to go back to the basics with each person, with each, in every part of the organization. If you're a leader, a new leader, in an organization, you've got to get the basics down pat before you get all the way up to the finish line, because at the end of the day, there are things that will prevent you from getting to the finish line if you don't get the basics.
Right, and if you have no direction, how do you know where you want to be, essentially? Mm-hmm. And it's not just only about, I know our premise is revenue cycle and billing and all that, but it's not just about that. It's about the basics of doing any sort of business and working in an organization. It's about how do you treat people, how do you work as a team, and in leadership, how do you just connect with your employees, how do you show respect to them. And we're filming outside, so there's a lot of outside noise.
Yeah, we apologize, but this is, we know that this information we're giving is vital, so we're going to give it to you on a porch, on a patio, in the crowd, in the shroud, wherever is necessary, because we believe that what we're doing and the conversation we're having today and the ones to come are very important for you to learn as a leader, wherever you are in your walk, in your, whether you're coming out of school, entering the workplace, and you're a new entry-level person, to you are at the top of the food chain in leadership. We believe that what we're doing or what we're trying to impart is very, very vital to your success. And so we apologize for the noise, but we're close to a street, it is a street that makes a lot of noise, where there's a lot of traffic. But
you know what, though, I think we've been through a hard couple of years, no matter what industry you're in, no matter what your situation is. I mean, COVID hit the whole world on its head. So I think we could all use some words of encouragement and a little pat on the back every once in a while.
Yes.
And I hope that's something that I really take to heart, and I want to be able to spread to, our audience and people that we work with. Like, you're all doing a great job. We can all work together. There's always areas for improvement. So don't stay where you are.
Yes. Don't beat yourself up.
Just keep going.
Just keep moving, because that's important. Conscientiously, doing better, and conscientiously being compassionate, conscientiously being a friend and a confidant, and that's because people need it. I've seen so many different instances in the workplace, and of course, where people are literally like on their last mental limb, and they've been inundated with so much stress, from financial, stress to health challenges in their family, or they're grieving from the loss of what was normal, and the grief of people who've actually unfortunately passed away. So many different dynamics, and the goal is to neutralize some things the best way we can, best way we know how, and we learned that. Tina and I think have both learned that just from the trials that we've experienced in our lives, and family members challenged with health, issues, but knowing how to resiliently get up and just keep moving. So we want to pass that on. We believe that's one of the primary missions of Rev'd, which is to show people how to be strong in there, even when they feel like they can't do it. They don't have the confidence to do it, to lead. But we're going to give you some tools to do
tools and encouragement.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So the way I view it is, you have a couple of choices. Everybody faces some hard things, and as Stacy mentioned earlier, we've both been through some challenges, especially over the last couple of years. I, for instance, have had several family members with really critical health conditions, and it really brought me down, more so than any other period in my life. It has been difficult. But your choice is, are you going to stay and wallow or are you going to make a choice to take it day by day and do the things that you want to do to make yourself lift yourself up? So look for community, look for friends, look for people that you can talk to, and because there always are going to be people with a listening ear, whether you may not even expect it. I've had many angels come into my life over the last couple of years, people who just popped into my life for some reason, and I didn't even know why at the moment, but come to think of it later, they were there to help me.
Yep, they were supposed to be there.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say just be open to people, be open to connection. And that's one of the ways that has really helped me to overcome and to really open myself up and feel like I want to do the same for others too.
Yeah, that's good. That's some good stuff. I think today, is one of many times that we'll come to you and just share, what's on our heart from our business, keeping our mission in mind. But today's conversation about what a healthy workplace looks like has everything to do with, how you want your organization to thrive and what it should look like. I've had, when you're younger, you don't see things so clear. As you get older and you have more experience, you see things clearly. And I think our take on what it looks like, which is one where that's filled with training and encouragement, and of course challenges, because challenges are good. They make you be better. They cause you to be better. So I think that at the end of the day, you want a healthy workplace, one where people are thriving, and then of course, and sometimes thriving means helping people to identify that this organization may not be the one for you, but for others, saying this one is, and we identify where we can best utilize you. So we just wanted to come today. Anything else? Any kind of wrap up points, Tina?
I would just say expect some more videos from us. We have a lot to talk about. We have a lot of words of encouragement, a lot of comedy, a lot of personal stories. So this is just the first part of our journey. So be looking forward to connecting.
Right. We're going to have different ways that you can connect. Or we right now have some different ways. Our website is revdconsulting.com. If there's anything that you have need pertaining to your practices, perhaps you see some kinks and you like to be able to get somebody to help you iron them out, you can feel free to reach out to us. And we would love to help you. Yes. So just continue to look out for us and our insight and input to help you in your practice be better. And we look forward to showing up. Anything else?
That's it.
I think that's it for today. So thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. Tell other people about us, because you may not think you need the information, but I promise you it's useful. And then if you don't think it is, pass it on to somebody else.
Yes.
Somebody's gonna need what we have to offer and what we are going to share with you. Okay. Take care. Until next time.
Bye.